Before they came with ships and crosses, before the chains, before the lies, there was Africa, a land not lost, but rich, with empires, kingdoms, and great thinkers, where trade flowed like rivers, where elders taught and youth listened, where people worshipped, lived, loved free. This is not what they taught you, but this is the Africa they found, and this is where our story begins.
This documentary is brought to you by AfriRise MediaTV, a platform for truth, pride, and power in African history. Subscribe now to join the movement.
The Mali Empire stretched across West Africa, its heart beating in the city of Timbuktu, a center of trade and scholarship. There, knowledge was more valuable than gold. Books were bought and sold, scholars debated under trees, and kings built schools. In the south, the Kingdom of Congo thrived with organized bureaucracy, currency, and laws. In the east, Ethiopia stood tall, never colonized, grounded in ancient Christianity and proud heritage. These were not primitive tribes. They were nations, civilizations, and the world came to Africa not to save it, but to take from it. They did not arrive with swords. They came with smiles and prayers. First came the traders, exchanging mirrors for minerals, gin for gold. Then came the missionaries, bearing Bibles, preaching salvation. And soon after, the flags followed. Treaties were signed in languages the people could not read. Land was ceded without understanding the cost. A handshake here, a document there, and the noose of colonialism tightened, not with war, but with words. In 1884, in a lavish hall in Berlin, European powers sat around a map, not to help Africa, but to cut it apart. Britain took Nigeria. France grabbed West Africa. Belgium seized the Congo as a personal property. And Africa? Africa wasn't invited. They drew borders with rulers, not caring about cultures, languages, or people. Then, they turned us against each other. Muslims against traditionalists. Tribes against tribes. And when we resisted, they didn't always bring guns first. They brought gold, liquor, and lies. And some of our own stood with them, not because they were evil, but because they believed the promises of power, protection, or simply survival. They said they came to civilize, but they enslaved. In the Congo, men had their hands cut off for not bringing enough rubber. In Kenya, entire villages were turned into labor camps. The mines of South Africa swallowed men for gold. The plantations of Ghana fed Europe with cocoa, but left Africa hungry. And while they took our resources, they also took our names, our gods, our stories. They told us our ancestors were savages. They mocked our languages, banned our drums, and taught our children that to be African was to be less. They thought Africa would kneel, but Africa rose. In West Africa, Samori Touré built an empire and resisted the French for over 15 years. In Ethiopia, Menelik II defeated an entire Italian army at the Battle of Adwa. In Angola, Queen Nzinga fought for 4 decades, outsmarting Portuguese generals with diplomacy and fire. And when the men fell, the women rose. Asantewaa, a grandmother, led the Ashanti into war. Mothers hid rebels. Children carried messages through jungles. We fought not just with guns, but with our culture, our language, our pride. Even when we lost battles, we planted the seeds of resistance that would never die. One by one, the flags of colonial powers came down. Africa rose. Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Angola, Algeria, Zimbabwe. But what came after was not always freedom. They left behind debts, weak borders, puppets in power. And today, the chains are no longer iron. They are in the mind, in the economy, in the media. But there is hope. Africa's youth are rising, not with weapons, but with knowledge, with unity, with pride. The drums of a new revolution are beating, not to destroy, but to rebuild. Africa is not a problem to be fixed. It is a power to be awakened. Let us not wait for saviors. Let us become the ancestors we were meant to be. Learn your history. Speak your language. Build your future. Because when Africa rises, the world must listen.
This is AfriRise MediaTV. If you believe in truth, in unity, in Africa's power, subscribe. Follow us on all platforms. Drop your comments. Share and join the movement.